Hi, Erica, and I'm Vic.
Welcome, ladies.
Mm. So today is a love touch, a touch point of an element or a little nuance that we work with when we're utilizing, and it can be the beginning of our Earthpoint pathway. It could be as an advanced practitioner and someone who's really living from this Earthpoint way of being, as mastering a new consciousness in the ability of stilling the out breath in as many everyday conscious moments as possible. So I'm going to hand it over to Victoria as our beautiful context intro girl.
Thank you, Julie. Um, Earthpoint is a beautiful co-creation that we are very excited to introduce into the world and make accessible to more and more people, expanding into humanity. And it's good to have a reference, as Earthpoint can be seen as a great philosophy and a way of life, and it permeates all experiences when lived and embodied. And when we first come across it, it can be practiced as a modality, as a methodology, as a framework that was really intentionally curated with variety and broad spectrum of philosophies and wisdoms across both Eastern and Western culture. And medicine, it's important to not quickly put Earthpoint into a box. It's a framework, or it's a practice, 10-minute practice, or it's a emergency meditation. But rather, follow us on the journey. We invite you to discover what Earthpoint can evolve into as we practice together and as we explore what's possible and co-create the potency of this budding gift that is meant for all of humanity. Julie, as the original founder and the being who birthed Earthpoint into this world, she often reminds us that it's really not just about Julie. It's definitely not about Julie's ego, but rather we're inviting it into usness now. So with that, there are so many areas to cover, but today we wanted to speak to one of the more early discoveries and understandings that will help us get a feel of what Earthpoint can offer. So I'll pass on to Erica.
Thank you, Victoria. That was beautiful for people to understand as we all bring this usness space forward, which is Earthpoint is like the breath of life. It's a beautiful modality when fully embodied, and it's also a new way of healthing. So it goes beyond just the normal health, which experience that I've had is environmental impact of accessing Earthpoint and being the embodiment of Earthpoint with a lot of practice. So it's a willingness to put a priority in one's life, and it's always nourishing within. So it creates an authenticity within one's self, providing a calmness when it's fully willing to be embodied, learnt, and a new way of actually being adamant with your health, with your relationships, with how you walk through life. A co-creation, it doesn't just come from self. It comes from impacting your family, impacting your work, impacting how you carry yourself, and also love or wisdom coming through. So myself, as my lived experiences within this space as a practitioner, just the beautiful joy and a beautiful beingness in to be able to share this as a ripple effect. The people you touch, the way you create love in your life and stability and moving forward. So I'd like to pass it on to you, ladies.
Thank you, Erica and Vic. Beautiful. Each video is just going to be a snippet and a little nuance of elements that we address as we deepen our Earthpoint practicing. So, as Vic said, it can be seen in many different ways, and we invite you to stay open because it is a liberation. It's a liberation of your head, your heart, your soul, and your way of operating from unplugging from all of the things that you know don't serve you. And it becomes a transcendental way of just literally being able to part that which is not healthy for the body, not healthy for the environment around you, not healthy for relationships. And this is the usness aspect. And the first opening space, so we're opening head, heart, and freeing the will. But it takes this little diving down and going down the elevator, so to speak, if we're going to use a visual right now. And the first part is the head. The head has become so individualized, which it's meant to be, very learned, very knowledge-based, and, you know, become an authoritarian way of being, to the point that it's become sub-nature. So we've disconnected from the earth. We've disconnected from the humanity part. Earthpoint is all about getting more and more connected and building a greater strength and capability in it. And we put the H at the end of the half that is inside you. And Earthpoint is the stabilizing foundation and a container from which we put everything in, and still the out-breath, the part that we work with first is what we call the Argy-Bargy. This is an absolute revolution and an evolution of peace on earth from within. So there will be no war on the outside if we have made peace and we're at calm, and there is no war on the inside, which literally this side saying, no, we've got to do it this side we've got to do it this side. The head saying this side, the heart saying this. The whole idea is that we bring it all the way down and we create a harmonising capability. Does that mean we lose our spunk and our fight and our enthusiasm for life? No, absolutely not. Yes, we become really, really calm. Do we become dull and uninspired? Absolutely not. We become more inspired, right? More creative, more capable. We open up to potentiality. So as a real lived experience in our most recent moment, I'd like to hand it back to Erica to talk about Argy-Bargy, because you've just had a very, very real visceral experience. And rather than talking it from a conceptual space, talk about the realness of what that was like, the physiological experience.
And my lived experience, I'd just like to share a situation that I was in recently, and I did have the Argy-Bargy going on, where the ego mind was saying, yeah, it's nice to stay and everything's going well, I was comfortable, and the heart really, truly didn't want to be in that situation, and it's disconnected from self. So there was no calmness or stillness. One was saying this, was saying something else, and this was feeling something else or saying something else. So with Earthpoint, it's a one big out breath. It immediately released all the Argy-Bargy that was going on up here and gave utter peace, and ushered forward the truth in that moment, in that situation I was in, to remove myself from that situation. So it gave me complete freeing and freedom to speak my truth with warmth and remove myself from that situation. And deep within Earthpoint, that was able to put that forward and make the process of that decision to remove myself from that situation very easily and with compassion.
We need to probably elaborate what Argy-Bargy means in a moment. Was there a question or a statement that came in that made you go, no, and really sort of springboarded you into a more empowered place?
Yes, there was. It was just the absolute truth within this being and person, and honoring that truth. And it just went to calm in our out-breath practice. And it was just no, with love behind it, to be able to carry that through.
So know that it's not healthy to stay in this environment,
Yes.
and to move to another environment that you
Yeah.
choose to put yourself in.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Vic, do you want to explain what Argy-Bargy means?
Yes. Well, it's not too hard to find this turmoil, conflict, yammering, yattering type of energy around. If we look, left or right out in public these days, on the news, etc., there's we call it the war model, because we see it as a model and as a system, not the truth or the way that it should be or always was, or in that way. So we can see the players on the chessboard as such, when it comes to this model, and the argy-bargy between the kind of bulls knocking heads that we can easily see on the outside. Often we can experience this on the inside way before it presents outside. So we, as Julie mentioned, the peace that many of us as humanity are praying for, are working for, are preaching about, this can only come from when we resolve the inner argy-bargy, or we not find the inner peace, but we be the inner peace. And through Earthpoint, this is made accelerated and a lot more accessible when we can efficiently, with a high level of precision and reliability, bring both the head and the heart into harmony and resting at a warm, nurturing, safe stillness inside. So I wanted to emphasize that this methodology is not random. It has been informed by so much wisdom, and we'll cover it in future sessions. Every part of the sequencing is very intentional, and it's informed by our whole full intelligence. When we're able to make peace inside, all of our intelligences as a full human soul being gets switched on, and we gain much more access to that, and the ego's freed also to do its best work.
Thank you. In
That's
closing, as we will talk about this further, this is a very rich and large subject, and very, as Vic said, very poignant. People are praying for what is the release, what can we do? And this is what we can do, each individual at a time, make peace within, be able to hold hands with each other in that safety, in that strengthening. It's not about being strong characters, it's in the strengthening. There's a beauty to it and an absolute strengthening precision. So this way of allowing the controlling of head and mind and rules that are fixed, being able to let them come to rest. We're not making them wrong. We let them come to rest so that they can operate in a more powerful way without being so fear-based. So when you free the mind of fear, and you free the soul of fear, and you free the heart from fear, then your clarity, all of that fixed model starts to fall away. This controlling almost shatters like glass, because that's the container you've been held in. The mind's been held. Your breath, when you're in a controlling space, you'll hold your fist, your body will heat up. You won't be in contact with your natural thermal radiation of the environment that's around you at the moment. So if it's a really hot environment you're living with, you'll get even hotter. If it's a cold, you're then in contrast with it. So the heat competes with the cold, as opposed to being in a more harmony. And this is very much about being embodied and in harmony with the nature and the geography that you're in. Be where your feet are right here, right now. And this doesn't happen overnight. That takes intelligences opening up and being able to connect with the nuances, and it takes practice. So this is our first little snippet about Argy-Bargy, which is an internal fight, essentially. Argy, arguing, Bargy, going backwards and forwards. So we stop that argument and we come at peace, we allow clarity to emerge. And the brain literally says, thank you. The heart says, thank you. And from the whole of me, I say thank you. Thank you, ladies, and look forward
Thank
to
you
our
too.
next call.